Hello, good morning. Hello. 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 Hello, good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Now we'll start with the lecture. Before we start with the lecture, I think we had a CAT 2 paper on Tuesday. Is it?
Yes, sir.
So there was one question. I think some students were confused about that question. So let me discuss about those questions first before we move ahead. Okay? Not this question. What is that question? Let me open that question. I will present my screen so that you will be able to see that question. See, this was the question paper for CAT 2. Can you see this question? First question. Let me.
Yes, sir.
Wait, let me open it once again because. Okay. Now, the first question was about this identify an aggregate unit for each of the following situation. Uh, can you tell me what is the answer you have given? Any one of you? It was a simple question. Hello, students.
Sir, we have to
Yes, good. Go
give the
ahead.
method, na?
You have to.
Which strategy we will use for this. We have to tell that, na?
No, that is the next part. What I'm saying is correct. Once you decide, hey, the aggregate unit, then to meet the aggregate unit, we need to follow certain strategies. But here, the question is, what is an aggregate unit for these given situations? So these were the case studies given. For example, if you're talking about, I'll come to these four cases, but let me explain you what is the meaning of aggregate unit. Aggregate unit is something related with the output of that particular organization. For example, when you talk about foundry, In foundry, we measure how many tons of casting we produce. If you go for a textile unit, we may decide how many meters of cloth do we produce. So that meters of a cloth may be an aggregate unit. Then how to achieve that aggregate unit? Maybe you need to follow all different strategies. But first you have to decide what is the unit for which you are going to plan your strategy. So in this question, it was just asked you to select an aggregate unit and explain it in brief. Why explanation in brief? Because, hello students, are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I mean here, say a manufacturer of color television of 30 different varieties. Now you may find the different varieties may be with respect to, you can say, screen size, maybe 30 inches, 32 inches, 38 inches, 42 inches, 48 inches. Maybe that is with respect to, you can say, whether it is a HD TV or 3D TV. Okay, so what is the kind of varieties? There will be n number of varieties, and all varieties will require different time. We cannot say that okay, the production time for say HD TV and you can say the 3D TV is same. It may be different, but at the end we have to calculate. Suppose if we have say 100 hours with us, okay, and in that 100 hours we can produce uh, say 60 HD TVs, got it, which requires around 50 hours, and we can produce around uh, 30 you can say 3D TVs, okay, which requires again 50 hours. So what will be the total equivalent output? Are you getting? Now I will explain it here. I'll write with the pen. You will understand it better. Say in producing this variety, I have two options. दादा पेन देत नाही इथं वर्ड वर लिहिता येत नाही का wait let me explain because we can expect a similar question maybe in the end semester examination. Maybe the units will be different. Those will not be the case studies will be different, but definitely you should understand okay how to uh, calculate the unit for a given situation. Okay, so here we have taken an example of TV. Now we have seen there are different varieties of TVs, maybe based on the screen size, maybe based on you can say whether it is HD or normal TV, maybe based on whether it is a 3D TV or something like that. So what we have decided is, suppose we have a total of, we can say 100 or say, for example, I'm saying, say we are having total of 100 units of time. Now what we can do is we can produce say 60 HD TVs, okay, in 50 minutes, and we can produce around 30 3D TVs, again the time is 50 units. So the total units of production in 100 hours, if we want to calculate, we cannot say 60 HD and 60 HD and 30 3D. We have to convert this into one of the unit. For example, if I have a 100 units time, and then you will find 60 can be produced HD type. So in another 50 units, I can produce another 60 HD TVs. So we can say the total aggregate units what we can have is equal to 120 HD TVs. Okay, equivalent 120 I'm saying. Or you can say it can be an equivalent 60 3D TVs. So in this total time, how many units of one category that we can produce, that we have to mention. Maybe based on the requirement we will change. Out of 120 HD total production capacity, we can use half of the time for 60 HD TVs, and remaining half time we can use to produce the 3D TVs. But total equivalent time to produce is equal to, you have to select one basic unit. Similarly, if I am having a foundry, okay, and in foundry also, if I am going to produce the number of components, maybe CI casting and maybe SG iron castings, okay, this I can produce, you can say 100 tons, and in the same time, if I produce this 150 ton, okay, and then if you want to calculate total, again you cannot say that is CI and I have 100 ton of CI and 50 ton of SG iron. What you have to do is, if I have a total of 2000 say 2000 hours of production, and in 2000 hours of production I can produce 100 in 1000 and 50 in another 1000. So what we can do is, you have to say that the total capacity is equivalent to either 200 ton of CI casting, or we can say total is equal to 100 tons of SG iron casting. One basic unit you need to select, and then later on for utilization purpose you can divide it into your different requirement. Is it clear? Hello students, what is the total output of that system that you need to produce, that you need to mention? And that is what the meaning of aggregate unit is. And then next, what Harsh has said is, maybe the strategy you can follow, we can select one of the suitable strategy, but that was not expected here in this particular question. Okay, in this particular question you need to just produce what is the total, you can say, output. And output will vary depending upon the type of an organization. For example, in the next case, what is given is the university. University cannot produce some tons of casting or certain number of output of a TV. Here, the university you can calculate is how many number of students can complete the course in a particular duration. So number of students will be an capacity that university can handle 2000 students at a time. That means 2000 can enter and take admission. University has a sufficient infrastructure for that. And maybe out of 2000, maybe depending upon their interest, some may go for School of Technology, some may go for School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, some may go for School of Commerce and Management, and that may change. Okay, but what in all, the aggregate unit for an university as such is how many number of students can enroll, okay, considering the infrastructure of a university. Here also we have calculated how many number of TV sets we can manufacture, considering the setup of fixed machines that we have in our organization. Are you getting all, students? Hello? Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what here the meaning of this question was that considering now here the next example is multi-speciality hospital. Multi-speciality hospital, again, you know, the name itself indicates there will be patient coming for all different purposes. Okay, we may have some, you can say, uh, COVID unit. We may have some as cancer for cancer treatment. We may have some section for orthopedics. But in all, put together, okay, if our multi-speciality hospital can treat, say, 750 patients at a time, so that becomes the aggregate unit for a particular situation. Is it clear? So it will vary as in this subject we are going to have the manufacturing as well as the service sectors, and that is why typically the some of the examples were given from the service sector. Now this output, again, it can be based on the number of units, maybe number of you can say output can be in terms of weight. It can be unit, it can be weight, or it can be any other unit, like, you know, as explained for the textile unit, it can be the meter. So unit will change. Now the next example, fast food restaurant offering North and South Indian dishes. Now you may say we can prepare, say, total capacity or is of 150 dishes. But out of that, you may again say, see here, for that restaurant, what I can have is, say, around 150 dishes we can prepare. But out of that, North Indian may take some more time. Okay, so we can say North Indian one dish may require, we can say, around 10 minutes of time. Okay, and if you go for South Indian dishes may require, say, 5 minutes of time. So what we can say is, in total 150 minutes that what we have with us, either we can produce 15 North Indian dishes, or we can say the 30 South Indian dishes. So we can say our capacity is to produce 15 North Indian dishes, or we can say our capacity is to produce 30 South Indian dishes. It doesn't mean that we are going to produce all South Indian dishes. This is what our capacity is. Now we are going to utilize the capacity based on the demand that we have. Is it clear? This is the unit time required for each dish. What is mentioned here is. Are getting, students? So this was the answer of the first question, which was there for about 8 marks. Okay. Uh, some of the students have written it correct. Okay. But I assume that you will not make a mistake when such question appears in the end semester examination. Got it? Again, I repeat, the same will not be the units. Unit will be different. Right? Maybe an automobile manufacturer. We don't know. And you may have to write about uh, aggregate unit for automobile manufacturing unit, which has which is producing variety of vehicles, two-wheelers, four-wheelers, and maybe electric vehicles also. Got it? Then refer to the second question. Now, second question, I think some of the students have changed the roll number. I don't know why they have changed the roll number. Have you understood this question? Second question. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Second question was, you have to estimate the demand, okay, for an automobile component for the month 7. What is given is 6-month data is given to you, and using the 6-month data, you need to calculate the demand for the 7 month. And for that, there were 3 different problems were asked. Okay, I'll just copy this table. Copy. New. You see, this was a table for the first 6 months, and here it was specifically mentioned in the question. Some of the students have assumed the roll number. Do not assume roll number of others. You have to use your roll number only. So can anyone tell me his roll number so that I will solve for his case?
10.
10. Okay. So if 10 is a roll number, say the demand for the first month will become 150. Each number here, roll number multiplied by 10. So the demand for the second month was 300. So it was 450. Just you have to multiply by 10 and then we have to calculate the demand. So you need to rewrite the table like this. Okay. Now this was the demand for the first 6 months, and now I want to estimate the demand for the 7th month. Okay. And here what was given is, it was a combination of 3 problems altogether. If you read the question carefully, moving average to 2 period, 4 period and 5 period. Okay, please try to understand similar examples may be there in the end semester examination also. So moving average, number of period, first we have to take 2 and we have to estimate the demand. If I take moving average as a period 2, what we'll find here for the third month, see, for 2 period average, what we have to do is, it is a 2 period average. 2 period average we have to take first, and then we have to see what is the demand. So 2 period average means for the third period, if you want to calculate the demand, it will be simply the addition of last 2 period. Okay, so it is 300 is equal to this plus this, and this whole, we have, as we have taken 2 period average, we have to divide it by 2. Yes, so 225 was the demand estimated for third. Now if you go for the fourth period, we have to consider immediate 2 period, last 2 periods. We have seen as we go ahead, the importance to the old period will get reduced and the immediate past period will have more importance. So here the importance for last 2 period we need to only consider. So if we simply calculate the formula, you will find the demand for the 7th month estimated is 425. So 10, so number 10, see, is it your average? Is it your answer? What I have done here, last 2 period, that is 300 plus 450 divided by 2. For 7th period, you have to do 350 plus 500 divided by 2. So the answer is 425. So it was one problem. In the same question, I had asked you, what if it is a 4 period moving average? If it is a 4 period moving average, okay, again you have to consider 4 and then you have to consider 5. Is it clear? Okay. Yes. Now, sometimes what happens, here in 3 period, 2 period, 4 period, we have given equal weightage to all, and that is why in the formula we have simply divided by 2. Same weightage for this period, same weightage for this period. Weightage remains same. So it is simply a moving average method. Whereas in the next question, what I had asked was, is a weighted moving average. As the time was only 1 hour, I have not changed the first data. First data I had kept it same as it is. Okay, so you'll find demand for the first 6 months is same. Only the weighted, it was a weighted moving average. And what was given is, it was a 0.5 for the immediate past, 0.3 for the 2 period before, and 0.20 for 3 period before. Okay, so what we can do here is, again, I will just uh, rewrite it here. See, the weightage I have taken for these are the 3 periods. Okay, before this. So immediate past, the weightage is 0.5. Please tell me the weightage. 0.5, 0.3, 0.2. So what was immediate past? Tell me first. Immediate past period was 0.5. 2 period before 0.3,
0.3,
and 3 period before 0.2.
0.2.
Point two.
Okay, so what I have to calculate is these are the average for the immediate 2 period and 3 period before. So again, these are the 3 periods. So what I'll do is, this is the immediate past, 450. So if I want to calculate, estimate the demand for this, it will be equal to immediate past multiplied by 0.5 plus 2 period before, you have to multiply it by 0.3, and plus 3 period before, you have to multiply by its weight, and weight for that was 0.2. And if you calculate, you will get this demand as 345. Now we want to calculate demand for the 7th period, and so you will find demand for the 7th period is 325. So you see, a simple moving average, the demand was different. Weighted moving average, the demand was different. And weighted moving average, demand will be calculated based on the weights assigned to it. Is it clear to you? For this 7th period, 0.5 will be immediate past is 6th period. So 0.5 into 350 plus 0.3 into 500 and 0.5 immediate past, you will find D8 is 0.5. Okay, here it is 2 period before 0.3 and 3 period before is 0.2. Okay, it's easy to get the answer. So if you have any doubts, you may ask me. These were the first 2 set of questions, okay, which was asked to all of you. And you see, the weightage was given to around 7 marks for the previous problem and 7 marks to this problem. So in end semester exam also, there may be one such question, okay, maybe based on the weighted moving average. Okay, is it? Now, let us go to the next part. Now, I don't know, this was a simple question, but all the student could not answer this. Was it difficult question? 2A. How many of you attempted this? Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
2A, was it difficult? Or you are not understood what is exactly to be done?
So we didn't understand it in the first.
Okay, so I'll explain this question to you. It's very simple. Okay. Now, why I'm taking this, because you should not fail to understand in end semester examination. Okay. So let me explain this question once again. I think we have solved in the class these 2 questions. Okay, 1 job 2 machine and 1 job 3 machine. All these questions we had already solved in the class. But what I wanted, this was a simple question. It was a n job and 1 machine problem. Jobs were n. Okay, there are 5 jobs which are to be processed on a work center. It means there is only 1 machine and I want to process 5 jobs. So what should be the order of processing these jobs that we have to calculate? Let us go to this whiteboard. इरेज कैसे करायचं?
सो ते पिंक वालं पेन्सिलच्या वरचा रबर.
तिथं काय असं इरेज होणार नाही काय?
हा.
नाही एवढंच झालं. Okay, I'll just erase this, the remaining part also, and then I'll explain that simple question. Okay. This is eraser. You want to say? Is it?
Yes, sir.
Let me try this only. Okay. So you see, there how many jobs were there? Please someone note down this data, because I don't think I can paste this table here. I'll just try it. Copy. Whether it can be pasted. Okay. So I could paste it here. See how many jobs are there? 5 jobs are there. Okay. And now these 5 jobs we need to process. So what we'll do is, okay. So job number 1. How many quantities were job number 1? Processing time for job number 1. It was
4 into roll number.
4 into roll number. So tell me that 4 into roll number is, roll number assume is 10. Is it okay?
Yes.
Or different roll number? Tell me fast. We want to solve this. So job number 1, say having the processing time of 4 into roll number. 4 into roll number, say it is 40. We assume 10 is the roll number. Job number 2, what is the processing time? 17 into roll number, is it?
Yes, sir.
170. Job number 3. So these are the job, and this is the processing time. Job number 3. Tell me the processing time.
14 into roll number.
That is 140. Job number 4.
9.
90. And job number 5.
11.
11. So 110. Now I have written this job. So what was the criteria that was given is, okay, it was given that the first criteria, you have to decide the scheduling based on SPT. What is SPT? SPT is the shortest processing time. Got it? So the first scheduling rule was SPT, and as I told you, SPT is the shortest processing time. So out of this job, okay, these 5 jobs, which is having the shortest time?
First
Yes,
one.
first one. So as per this rule of shortest processing time, I will schedule. Okay, now I'm now writing the schedule. It is first job, I'll do it. Next, after which is the next shortest? Next shortest time?
4.
90. Okay, that is job number 4. So after 1, I will schedule job 4. Next shortest?
5.
110. So I will schedule job number 5. Next shortest?
3.
3, that is 140. So I will schedule job 3, and the next shortest is remaining, that is 2. That is, so this is what the sequence of processing the job, as we have to complete it in the shortest processing time. I remember when I discussed this concept in the theory class, I told you that if you want to complete the assignment, you will select those assignments which will require the minimum time, those assignments which you may do it first. Is it? This is what we discussed. Then there is another criteria given in the question, and that criteria was LPT. What do you understand by LPT? LPT is the longest processing time. So, as per the longest processing time, if we have to calculate, that means the job which are going to take more time, we are going to finish it off first. Okay, let us get free up those jobs which are likely to take more time, and the smaller jobs will carry out afterwards. So here the schedule will be, now tell me, which is having longest time? It is exactly the reverse order, is it not?
Yes, sir.
This is in the shortest order. So you will find job number 2 is having the longest time. So I will do it first. Then job number 3. Then job number 5, which is again 110. Then I'll go for job number 4, which is 90. And then I'll go for job number 1. Was it difficult? Hello students, was it difficult?
No, sir.
So first you have to calculate the shortest processing time, schedule it accordingly. Then you have to calculate longest processing time and schedule it accordingly. But next time, but all the time these two rules may not work. Sometimes we may have to go for the another rules which are explained here. What is the next rule? FCFS. What do you understand by FCFS?
First come, first serve.
First come, first served. Okay. So, if you want to calculate, FCFS, that is first come, first serve. Now, how will you come to know who has first come and first serve to be served first?
So date on arrival, date of
Arrival
arrival.
date.
Date of S. When they have given the job, that is why some additional data was given in the question. See here, arrival time, when we received the job order for the job 1, when we received the order for job 2. Someone please note down this and tell me the data. Have you noted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because again we are not going to copy paste this. Just copy the arrival time. Okay. Now tell me.
First job 25th April.
Okay. So first job we received on 25th of April. Okay.
Second 29th of April.
29th of April.
Third 27th of April.
27th of April.
Fourth
Fourth
30th of April.
30th of April.
Fifth 28th of April.
28th of April. Now, I'm not going to look here when I'm going to select this as a criteria. First come, first serve. I'm not going to look at what is the processing time. I'll just see the arrival date. And now out of this, you'll find the first job what we received is the job number 1, that is on 25th. So I will do that job first. Next, I will see which is the next job after 25th. 27th April. Is it?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
after first job, I have received the order for the third job on 27th. So I will do that. Next, I'll process that. Then after 27th, 5th. 5, yes, good. Brilliant students. Next,
2.
2. Good, very good. And finally,
Fourth.
4th. Okay, because I received
Fourth.
that late. Is it clear? Hello, students?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
So this was on the
Yes,
basis
sir.
of first come, first served. We have processed these jobs. Okay. Now there was one more criteria given. Okay, and 8 marks were there. So 2, 2, 2, 2. I think 9 marks were there. No, 8. What was the last is? EDD. What that EDD stands for?
Early due date.
Earliest due
Early due
date.
date.
Okay, so someone please note down the due date also now for this.
Noted.
Noted? Okay. Again, we'll go back to this. What I'm going to do, where is the eraser? This is the eraser. Okay. Delete. How can I cannot use this eraser. Okay, so what I'm going to write here, the dates. Tell me now.
First, 28th of April.
28th of May.
Sorry.
May. Second,
26th of May.
26th of May. Third,
30th of May.
30th of May. Fourth,
25th of May.
25th of May. And fifth,
27th of May.
27th of May. So normally we consider which is the last date of which is the due date for submission, and based on that, okay, the due date, earliest due date, we may process the job. So EDD is the criteria, that is earliest due date. Now 10, which is having the earliest due date. Don't consider when the job was received, what is processing time, nothing. Earliest due date is 25th, yes, correct. Fourth, next. Next. 2, because it is 26th of May. Good, very good. Next.
5. 5th.
5th. Okay, good. Next.
1 and 3. 1.
1, because 28 and 38th of May is 3. Okay, so that there will not be any penalty as such. Are you getting? Just because you see now, if you compare first come first served, the third we have done it as third was scheduled second in first come first served, but here in earliest due date it is scheduled at last. The reason is if we fail to deliver in time, we may have to give penalty. So sometimes earliest due date again is widely used criteria in the industries is to avoid the penalty. Or it maybe even in this case also 1 or 2 job may be late. Okay, but at least the way that will reduce the penalty. So these were the 4 criteria, okay, that were given for this question. I hope now you will be able to solve such questions if they appear in the end semester examination. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I think this question we have discussed at length. Now you can tell me I'll just copy this table and take the new board. Okay, we'll work here. Now what we'll do is I'll take that table. Copy. Okay. See, these were the SIP jobs, and there were processing times on machine 1 and machine 2. Normally, while solving such question, please see that is the sequence given in the question. Sometimes it is given that the job is to be processed on machine 1 first and then machine 2. And sometimes maybe to create confusion, they may also give that first you process it on machine 2 and then on process on machine 1, but it should be clearly mentioned in the question. If not mentioned, we'll assume first on machine 1 and then on machine 2. Okay? Now, yeah, please tell me the calculations. I'll write the job here and the machine 1 and machine 2. We'll assume some roll number. Yes, students, help me. The data is given here in front of you. What is the roll number? Should I assume? Yes. Roll number. $10. Okay.
Okay.
Now, tell me now. First job, if the roll number is 10, what is the processing time?
50.
50. Then 100,
100.
80, 90, 60 and 120. M2. How much is the time? 70, 80, 130, 70, 110 and 100. Okay. Now I'll just remove this table. This table is not required. Okay. So we know that we can use the Johnson's rule. And what is the Johnson's rule? Johnson's algorithm. Yes, Johnson's algorithm.
Shortest first.
Shortest first, and shortest last.
Last.
So it is very simple rule. Shortest first operation, we have to schedule it first, and shortest last operation, we have to schedule it last. Okay. Now tell me. Okay. Out of this, which is the shortest operation, shortest processing time?
50 first.
50 is the shortest, and 50 is the shortest time for the first operation. So the job 1 must be scheduled first. So we have scheduled job 1. Next, now don't consider this time because job is already scheduled. Which is the next shortest?
50.
That is 60 is the shortest time. Is it for first operation or last operation? M1 is first operation, M2 is last operation. So it is first operation. So we have to schedule job 5 next. Got it? Next. Once job 5 is scheduled, we are not going to consider this time. Which is the next shortest? Shortest time? 70. Is it? 70 is the shortest. It is for the last operation. So what we have to do is we have to create the blocks: first job, third job, fourth job, fifth job, and finally we have to schedule the sixth job. Now what we'll find, this 70 is the shortest last operation because it is on machine 2. Machine 1 is first operation, machine 2 is last operation. So 70 is the last operation, so job 4 is to be scheduled last. Got it? Are you getting all, students?
Yes, sir.
Now, which is the next shortest? Now there is a tie. There is number 80 here, and here is 80, and both are shortest. But it can be easily broken because this 80 shortest is for last operation. Is it? And shortest last operation to be scheduled last. So job 2 is to be scheduled last. So remove this. This 80 is for the first operation. So these 3 is to be scheduled first. Okay. And finally, the job remaining is 6, and there is only one position. You can schedule 6. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what was the answer for the question number 2B. Okay. And finally in 2C, what is given is you were asked to construct a Gantt chart. Okay. And then the order is given here. As per this order, you were supposed to prepare. So someone note down this order first. Note down this order. Noted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll go back to this. No, I want this table. I'll just erase this part. Okay, let us try it. I'll just save this answer first. See here, in Gantt chart, you know that on one axis we take the machine. See, what we do is on one axis we take the machine, and so I draw it here. Okay. So this axis is a time axis. Okay. And this axis here I can represent machine 1, I can represent machine 2, and if I have one more machine I can add it in the on the same line. Now the sequence, tell me the sequence given. As per which sequence you have to draw the Gantt chart?
2, 3, 5, 1, 4, 6.
2,
3, 5,
3, 5,
1, 4, 6.
1, 4, 6. Okay, so we have to calculate the idle time and the total time. So what we'll find, if you look at it, the job number 2 will have 100 units on machine 1. So if I load here, I'll just change the color. I will load job 1, sorry, job 2, and job 2 will require, say, 100 units This is 100 units on machine 1, and then I can take this job on machine 2, and machine 2 it requires how much time? 80. So you will find job 2. Now we can load on machine 2 and it will be completed. A job 2, I can load it and it is going to take 80 minutes time. And you will find this is 180. Now what will find? First 100 minutes machine 2 was idle. There was no work for the machine 2. So that this is an idle time, and this idle time is equal to 100 minutes for machine 2. Is it clear? Once we process job 2, we have to go to job 3, and you will find job 3 requires 80 minutes on machine 1. So now I'll take another job. This is job 3, which requires 80 minutes on machine 2 and 130 minutes, 80 minutes on machine 1 and 130 minutes on machine 2. So add 130 here. You can load it because the machine is available immediately. And then you'll find job 3 is going to take another 130 minutes. So maybe you will find it will finish somewhere here, and it is around 210. Next we have to process, once the job 3 is done, we have to go for job 5. And what is processing time for job 5? 60 on machine 1. Okay, so what we have to do is job 5 we have to process, and you will find job 5 will take 60 minutes. So 180 plus 60, it's around, it is going to take 60 minutes. So what we'll find is that by 240, job 5 is ready. Can it go on job machine 2 immediately? Hello students?
No.
No, because machine 2 is busy. So here job will keep on waiting, and once the previous job is done, then only I can load job 5 on this machine 2. Is it clear? And this is how you were supposed to construct the Gantt chart, and it will take another 110 minutes. So maybe if it takes another 110 minutes, maybe you can say at around 210 plus 110, so it is around 320 minutes. Likewise, you need to construct. Understood? Okay, so this was about the session, what we wanted to conduct it today. Now we have missed one session yesterday because there was one meeting in the afternoon. So tomorrow we'll conduct an extra session in the morning. Okay, so be ready and do not miss the session. Tomorrow we'll have the session at 9:30. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
Tomorrow we'll conduct one more session at 9:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll stop presenting. Meanwhile, you can enter your roll number in the chat box. So if you have any doubts, you may ask. Meanwhile, the student will enter their number. But do not miss the session
Sir.
in the morning. Yes, Pratham.
सर ते क्विज ओपन करता का परत मोडलचे खूप
Yes,
पोराने
yes.
दिले नाही
Yes, yes. I will open the quiz on the model today, and it will be kept open till Sunday. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
ओके सर
Till
Thank you.
Sunday at 12 p.m. 11:59 night. We'll keep it open. Okay? No problem.
ओके सर
Okay. We'll do it. But please see that attend all the sessions. Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other doubt?
No.
सर चॅप्टर 2 ची notes
Yes. Will be uploaded on the model. Don't worry.
हा सर
Anything else? Okay. So
Sir.
we'll stop. Yes. Yes. Harsh.
सर तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन झाला ना क्वेश्चन 1A
हा.
त्याचा एक्झाम्पल कुठला असणार तर मोडलला अपलोड करता का तुम्ही
बरं ठीक आहे ठीक आहे. Yes.
थँक्यू सर
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. So we'll stop here today. Okay. Thank you for attending. Best of luck. Stay home. Stay safe. Okay. Take care. And
Thank you,
meet
sir.
tomorrow morning. Yes. Bye. Good day.